Okay, arm historian made a video titled "What are arm wrestlers really selling you?" So I'm making a reaction video or video regarding that video. And firstly, anything I say in this video are not meant to like challenge arm historian or criticize him or anything. I'm just covering topics that he covered in his video, which I disagree with slightly, or not even disagreeing might be a little strong, too strong word. I just give my input on it. So do not take this video as some kind of debunking of his video or anything. I'm just covering topics that he covers and giving my thoughts on it. So this should not be taken as negative take on his video. Okay, so that said, here are the topics I would want to cover. There were topics in the video which I agreed with, and I'm not gonna cover them. Uh, Biggest of which was the stem cells thing. I can agree that there seems to be some kind of a financial motive behind pushing it, and I agree with our historian on the stem cells that he mentions on the video. But the things which I a little bit disagree are fasting, cupping, SARMs. Maybe not disagree, but I just want to give my 2 cents on it, and then his inclusion of Michael Todd in the end there. So going firstly to fasting, like the how the arm historian covered fasting in the video was that he didn't say anything about it. He just played a video of Devon talking about fasting. And hence arm historians didn't make any articulated statements about fasting, but he just had it in the video, which was kinda framed as pseudoscience or unfounded science in arm wrestling or something. Obviously, that's not even stated in the title. It's just the title is "What are arm wrestlers really selling you?" So, not that the title is neutral. There is no claims. So I'm not claiming arm historian is claiming things. I'm just responding to things which could be construed in some way. Not claiming he is claiming these things. But if somebody takes from that video that fasting is kind of pseudoscientific or doesn't have scientific backing behind it, I would like to point out that if you just go to Wikipedia page on fasting, I'm not saying that Wikipedia is like a quality source on its own, but Wikipedia does have sources also. And usually those sources are quality sources. So, interesting things about fasting that Wikipedia says, if we go here, if we go to mental health section on this Wikipedia article on fasting, it does say in on review, fasting improves alertness, mood, and subjective feeling of well-being, possibly improving overall symptoms of depression and boosting cognitive performance. So this is in Wikipedia on fasting. So it's not like I'm not saying that this proves this because it's in Wikipedia. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not using Wikipedia as a fundamental source here. I'm just saying that if you click on this source and go to look the source, there might be some science to look into it. So there is something to be said about fasting. And then another thing, if you go here and prolonged fasting, which is what Devon did in his video, and which Jody also did in her channel. If you go here and you read about this, as prolonged fasting continues, drastic decrease in sodium, potassium, and magnesium and other minerals are noted, which can lead to hyponatremia. Okay, hyponatremia. I look it up. Here you can look it up. This is from Wikipedia on the hyponatremia. It's just low sodium, which mild symptoms include decreased ability to think, headaches, nausea, and poor balance. Severe symptoms include confusion, seizures, coma, and death can be ensue. So you can die from it, basically. In most worst cases, is what it says. So this, and then it continues. In some diet systems, these losses are often offset with non-caloric electrolyte supplements. Note that this is what Devon did and what Jody did in her channel. So I'm just like to pointing out that regarding this danger, Devon is actually promoting a more responsible form of water fasting, prolonged fasting, because he has the electrolytes there. So if you have the electrolytes, you don't have to, this should be covered. So what Devon is promoting is kind of responsible form of fasting. And on top of that, when he said that he feels great, it's not also totally unfounded claim. Like there is evidence to it. And third point, first point being this, second point being this, and the third point being that fasting is actually pretty studied topic. It's not like I have the cupping here next. Compared to cupping, fasting has pretty much a lot of scientific data on it. So it's not like it would be in the same category as cupping or the stem cells even. It's pretty well studied and it has, and to be specific, there are many forms of fasting. Like there is the intermittent fasting and there is the prolonged fasting and there is the prolonged fasting with electrolyte and stuff like that. So it's not totally, the fasting thing is not pseudoscience. There is science to fasting, which we do have. And Wikipedia makes claims about it, health claims, and it has sources and yada yada yada. That's my thought on fasting. Then cupping. Let's move on cupping. Uh, 2 points about cupping I would like to cover. Which first point is that I found this meta-analysis on the cupping. Cupping for patients with chronic pain. A systematic review and meta-analysis. So meta-analysis, for those who don't know, is a study of studies, meaning it looks all available studies on scientific databases, and then it makes a conclusion on what can be drawn from the studies. And if we look at what they conclude from this meta-analysis is that cupping might be a treatment option for chronic pain, but the evidence is still limited by the clinical heterogeneity and risk of bias. So that's the conclusion. And why they say that it might be treatment option for chronic pain, not that it's promoting it with hesitation. And why it does promote it? Because meta-analysis found large short-term effects of cupping on pain intensity compared to non-treatment. And they can take into consideration that the confidence interval is this, meaning that it doesn't include 0, meaning that it is statistically significant finding, what they concluded. And also standard mean difference is less than -1. And if we go to Wikipedia page on effect size, and then here standard mean difference, we are told here that SMD, which was the thing here, standard mean difference, when it is greater than 0.8, it's considered large, meaning that the difference between sample groups is large. And the minus here means that the pain got less. If it would be positive, it would mean that the pain get worse, like more pain. Because it's negative, it's less pain. So there was a large, like they also tell here, large short-term effect. So there you have scientific evidence that cupping might have something to it. I'm not saying it has something to it. I'm just pointing out that there is this kind of meta-analysis hanging around in PubMed, which everybody can read, and which concludes cupping might be a treatment option for chronic pain, but the evidence is still limited by the clinical heterogeneity and risk of bias. And why they say that is that because of the 18 included trials, most were limited by clinical heterogeneity and risk of bias. So there you have it. That's evidence. It's not proof, but it's evidence. I'm not saying it proves it. I'm not saying now you should go to cupping because of this. I'm just saying it's not totally pseudoscientific. That's what I'm saying. So that's the first point on the cupping thing. Then this is kind of the second point of cupping, but it's merits in its own point, which is that you could look at these results and contribute it to placebo effect, you know, but you should consider that placebo effect does not equal no effect. And placebo doesn't mean just in your head. I think this is very important to understand, that people often conflate placebo effect that it doesn't have an effect, when in reality placebo effect can be huge. And therefore I encourage you to go watch this video. It's on this YouTube channel, House of Hypertrophy. And the name of the video is Gain Strength and Muscle. This is underrated. It goes very deeply on the placebo thing aspect in strength training, obviously different topic than pain relief or something, but it's just good thing to watch regarding understanding how powerful placebo effect can be. And then also, if you are interested, you can go and read this placebo effect paper on PubMed, and then also this paper on PubMed, role of patient beliefs in open label placebo effects. Open label placebo effect means that the patient is told that they are given placebo medicine. They are not lied about it. They are openly told that what I'm giving you is placebo medicine. And it still has a positive effect on people, some people. And this talks about it. You can go read it from the PubMed. And by this point, I would like to highlight that even though cupping would be total placebo, that does not mean it has no effect. Assuming its effect is from placebo, and assuming that what he's found here does show something to the effect of cupping might be doing something. You know, the mind is a powerful thing, and if you have pain and you are using a method, for example, cupping, purely for the reason of placebo effect, that's not unscientific. Placebo effect is a very scientific thing. So, just a point here. And in general, I don't see arm wrestlers like selling you cupping. They might be promoting it by using it, but that's just something that happens. And again, I'm not saying that an arm historian would have claimed that arm wrestlers are selling you cupping or somehow negatively promoting it, like in a scam sense. I'm not saying that. I'm just commenting on topics that arm historians cover. So don't take this as an attack on arm historians. And then there was the SARM thing. He just briefly mentioned it, but I also remember it, so I want to give my 2 cents about it. More Plates, More Dates made a video about it, which kind of blew it up. And in one frame of the video, not in one frame, but one section, he gives the source of the Reddit post, which is this. And it was kind of bad what Levon did, because his channel could have been easily terminated for what he did, because it was kind of illegal for promoting illegal substances in a way he did it. So that's that. I'm not gonna say any more about it, but it was kind of interesting nuance. And do not take what I now say as critique of Levan or critique of arm historians. I'm just now making a statement that Levan did in the video mention these substances. And some of these substances are like, they are meant to be used as male contraceptions, chemical contraceptions tools, meaning that they lower your ability to have children. So I'm just saying this as a general warning that you might not want to just jump into using SARMs in, like, I'm saying this as a general statement here, that you might not want to be jumping in the SARMs train and be using SARMs thinking they are harmless. Like, they still can I recommend that you watch this video if you have, because he pretty well went over the misinformation on SARMs that was in the Levan's video, which no longer is in internet. Anyway, that was my thought on SARMs. Then I would move to my last point, which is that our historian had this frame, this section on the video, which was kind of like some kind of like take on Michael Todd's religious beliefs and question marks on it. And the context was kind of like pseudoscience. And again, I'm not saying that this is what arm historians stated or even meant. I'm addressing what somebody might conclude, which is not the same what arm historian claimed. Okay, I'm addressing a thought which might have occurred to somebody watching that video. And that's what I'm now referring to. Okay, so it's not an attack on our historian, it's an addressing a possible thought which might have occurred to somebody watching this section of the video. And what I would like to point out here is, and why I'm addressing this also, because there was the other video also which I cannot find anymore, which kind of took shots on Michael regarding his faith position, which I kind of feel like is little bit ill-willed, like, because so what if Michael has a faith position, so what? A lot of people have faith positions. And to address a little bit further this topic, I would like to note that methodological naturalism is not philosophical naturalism. Methodological naturalism, simply put, is just assuming only natural things are at play here, yada yada yada. Meaning that, for example, if Michael Todd would be a crime scene investigator, he could say that assuming only natural things are at play here, what might have happened? Note that Michael is now doing scientific research. And methodological naturalism is what science has, not philosophical naturalism. Regarding methodological naturalism, this is a topic-specific presuppositionalism, meaning that it doesn't claim anything, it just presupposes it regarding a topic, meaning that if you are studying, for example, some rock from a moon, you can be assuming only natural things are at play here. What we can learn from this rock, you know? That's totally compatible with theism. Because theism doesn't say that everything that happens is supernatural. Meaning also then that this rock from moon would be supernatural. On contrast with methodological naturalism, which is in science, philosophical naturalism, on the other hand, says all that exists is natural, regarding natural versus supernatural, which claims that all things that exist is natural, which is a positive truth claim. So note that philosophical naturalism has a positive truth claim. Methodological naturalism does not have a positive truth claim because it just presupposes. There is no conflict with theism for presupposing that regarding a specific thing, only natural things are at play regarding. It doesn't make a metaphysical truth claim about the ontological nature of the universe, that all that exists in it is natural. And I also want to address that atheism is not default position, because claiming so conflate methodological naturalism with philosophical naturalism. If you think that this is atheism is default position, meaning here strong atheism, then or even the lack of believing God or gods, weak atheism. If you think that it is a default position because you think that it is essential for science, then you are conflating these two. You are conflating this with this. Can I make this bigger? You're conflating this, and they are not same. This one has a positive truth claim, this doesn't have a positive truth. And I would then also this, atheism is not skepticism. Atheist can be a skeptic, but theist can also be a skeptic. So I'm just addressing here the thought that there would be something to cough about Michael Todd's theistic position or anybody's theistic position, which I think is a little bit alluded sometimes in some video. And on the last point, which is this, weak atheism, lack of faith to God or gods. Note that this is lack of faith to the truth claim of strong theism, which does make the truth claim that there is God. Lack of faith to the truth claim in strong theism. But then let's look at this. Weak theism, lack of faith that all that exists is natural. Lack of faith to the truth claim in strong atheism. And if you now say that weak atheism and strong atheism doesn't exist, you can go to this Wikipedia page, and I didn't pull them out of my head. They are name concept. So if just food for thought, if somebody thinks that atheism is the default position and therefore theists should be considered pseudoscientific, consider this. Are you conflating methodological naturalism with philosophical naturalism? And second point, if you are using this definition, weak atheism, then what about weak theism? Lack of faith that all that exists is natural. It's also a lack of faith position now. So what I'm saying here is that if you say that atheism is the default position, then what is the position which has both of these? Which has both of these? Can I make this bigger? Which has both of these. What is that position? What is the position lack of faith to God or gods and lack of faith that all that exists is natural? Note that these are not exclusive statements or positions. One can have them both. So what is this then, which has them both? Just food for thought. Food for thought, and I'm just addressing not what arm historian said here, but a thought which might have occurred to somebody, which might have led to them to look at Michael Todd and his religious statements and think that they are somehow pseudoscientific or anything. Note that the methodological naturalism doesn't have a ontological truth claim in it. It presupposes the position. Philosophical naturalism has the positive truth claim in it. Okay, that's my take on the whole thing. These were my points. If you disagree, leave a comment. And yes, bye.